Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Myst III Exile. Let's continue. So, it took us almost an entire episode to get this floating platform that's going to transport us, I think, maybe to the end of this entire island, quite frankly. We had to do quite a bit of work to get the pressures right on the steam valves to get it out. So we're going to walk into that, but before we do that, I think we need to read some more of our Book Thief's journal. So I want to come back to the beginning and look here and see if I can skip through all of these, because we've gotten more pages to his journal and I want to make sure I've read everything up until this point. We probably are going to have to come back and reread this whole book at some point. Let's see. I'm fairly sure we've read this. So I think we're here. Sirius and Akinar are not in Tomalin. Tomalin being the world that we started this game on, where Atris and Catherine and his new daughter, who plays a small role in the continuing series, but honestly doesn't seem like she kind of plays a big role in the final game, but she doesn't act as a all-out complete replacement for Atris, which is what I think they probably were trying to set up here. You can see how Ubisoft in particular might think to themselves, hey, maybe we could plant the seeds of replacing Atris as the actor, since Atris is, I believe, one of the Millers. And I don't know how Ubisoft planned on getting the Myst series. They probably were going to license it for a very long time at a good price. Anyways, that's speculation. Sirius and Agnar are not in Tomalin. Every day I become more and more convinced Atris' sons are not there. What happened, Atris? Did you grow tired of them the way you tired of Narayan? See, and we've been assuming Narayan is his significant other, but it actually might be a age where this guy is from. Did you abandon them the way you abandoned my people behind your shield? It does not matter. I can still take revenge against their father. Now I'm no longer stuck on Janinin. I can avenge all the dead in my world, and I've already reopened his other books. I've begun making changes to those worlds using his own lessons against him. There is still much work to be done, but eventually I will lure him to this tusk. You will find some way to make him follow me here from Tomalin. Then here we have some magnetic crystals that I don't think we've really dealt with yet. For now, I will concentrate on the orbiter. It is not a natural part of the world. The material that created it is like nothing I've seen. It reminds me just a little of the shield, and if it's the same material, it can't be damaged. So which one of these is the orbiter? Then we've got some more images that we have yet to see really any use for yet. But perhaps I can damage the other devices. Okay. So we're going through all of this, and this is probably the worst way to do a YouTube series, is start every episode with reading, but it is very fair and accurate depiction of what playing a Myst game is. You are going to end up reading some books or spending a lot of time on puzzles. I guess Myst 1 and Riven maybe didn't have as much reading as you might be running into in this game, because we do have these 2 books and we are gathering more pages. I don't believe that there's a way I could walk over here. This shifted when the platform tilted, so there's no way going back, which means theoretically this elevator would have to reset at some point, just like the rest of the world would have had to reset at some point. And this is a transitional device. It really doesn't have any interaction as far as I can tell. And while more of these might have been appreciated, because there are several spots in this world where we've had to just walk around quite a bit, I'm not sure they're super necessary. We could have just had animations happen. And so this is like the second time we've gone full circle in this age of energy, which is what I imagine this is the age of. Might be a way to go back, but I don't think we're to that yet. Instead, I think what we're going to do is possibly spin the platform, but not really to anything. Like, this whole trail just kind of ends here. And see, this is where we started, and this is the door that I think we still don't have power. And so this entire island has been centered around powering that one door to open it, which you wouldn't have that in Myst 1 or Riven. That's just not how the games would have worked. So that powered a floating platform. I was not expecting that. And so remember, each of these tutorial puzzle islands is supposed to give us a symbol that the symbol reader would read. And so by finishing this puzzle island, which we're about to do, we are going to get the symbol and just teleport back to the central Tusket land. And yeah. Yeah, when you think about Myst 1, where there was a puzzle to unlock a book to take you to a whole different world, and that whole different world had at least 4 or 5 different puzzles that were not directly connected to each other, but maybe had some small linearity to them. This is way different. This is much more new video game player friendly. Like, everything we did on this island had to be basically done in the order that we did it. Everything we did centered around energizing 1 or 2 things. This looks like it's just a bird nest sitting there. I don't think that's really what that is. So yeah, we're gonna fly higher. And that knocked down the point where we could teleport back. So I guess it's kind of important at the moment that you can't just teleport back to the overworld, because if you could, it would be in a weird position, certainly. And there's nothing over here. And see, when I'm talking about how the worlds have to be programmed in some way to reset themselves, this is what I'm talking about. Like, if I just linked to this age and it was in this condition, I would have been able to escape. And yeah, this would have been the condition it would have been left in after the suns left, I guess. So either our book thief reset it, or it's designed to reset. And I guess maybe it isn't designed to reset, because Atreus only really intended for his sons to do this, and I imagine he intended them to work together to solve the puzzles. I think if you're going to remake or reboot the Myst series, the idea of co-op gameplay makes a lot of sense, and it's a lot more reasonable to do online gameplay now than when they were trying to develop Uru and make an MMO happen. I think co-op is probably as far as you should go with it, though. I don't think you should go for bigger than teams of 2. And we've got some new VR games certainly coming out that are like escape the room co-op games that kind of prove that. So I feel like this room has been completely rebuilt because I feel like this was originally just going to be a hologram projection room to show you the shape. Instead, we are going down the hall as the music plays. The music is playing, and it probably was triggered because we did something significant, but I'm not sure that it has to play or it's going to play completely all the way through. So we're going down, just climbing on these rings. This is another great example of just, you know, having to click multiple times when a simple transition animation would have been used by modern gameplays. At no point was the second climb up going to reveal something, or so it's just these empty movements for no reason. Right? So we've got a thing here that probably opens up and links us back to the Tusk Island, and a thing here to open. So we open this, and only from this perspective can we see the floating rocks to make the symbol. And it's just automatically going to be drawn on the extra pieces of paper we had from our book thief's journal, I assume. And we now have one of the 3 symbols. And there's kind of nothing else to do or say. And this symbol has been changed. It wasn't the old symbol, so I guess the general idea here is he figured out how to make rocks float with electricity, which we did see some research in that way. And now we can click on this because there's really no reason to go back. And we have a book to Jonanin, which this is the only way you would be able to teleport back because the other one was disabled. So that's one of the 3 islands done, or probably to be more accurate, 2 of the 3 islands done. Fingers crossed, nothing has been reset on this island, and so it's been saved. So I can walk out of this door, and well, I didn't even appear in the place I thought I was going to appear. I can walk to the other 2 places and link to the next land without having to redo any puzzles. And so here we have this, and we can drag it there, and the scanner will look at it.
Not so easy, is it, Atreus? Running like a rat through a maze, some sign that'll help you save your world? Is it over here? Is it over there? Is it someplace I can't find? Cirrus and Achenar didn't care about saving Narayan. All that talk about fixing instabilities, rewriting the age so that we would be free to live our lives, that was just talk to hide the truth of why they had come. But we believed their lies, Atris. So we abandoned our traditions, forgetting that those traditions were keeping Narayan alive. And when the lattice trees started to die, I followed them here to tell them what they had done. And they laughed. They said they would never fix Narayan. They said that they had already taken everything it had worth saving. So, my dear old friend, Atris, I brought you to this place where your education begins. Find the remaining 2 symbols, and then come see what your boys did to Narayan.
So apparently the lattice tree kept Narayan going, and we get to keep the symbol, but we can't. We're gonna need a couple more symbols to unlock this book to Narayan. And of course, those cutscenes are going to play in order regardless of whatever world you did. So it's still pretty open world like Myst was. I would argue Riven wasn't as open world. Let's see what this one is.
Not so easy, is it,
right.
Atris?
So it's just the latest cutscene. It's almost a accusation against the player themselves, complaining about. Let's see what happens if we hit this button. I was wondering about this. Is this just gonna squish me? Nah, nothing's gonna happen because I'm standing on it. Theoretically, that would have called the elevator and squished me to death. But yeah, it's not going to do that. I could see people being frustrated with Myst and Riven. Riven in particular, I felt was particularly complicated and difficult. And the idea of some player stand-in character punishing Atris for making the worlds and the puzzles too complicated does have a slight appeal to it, but they don't go hard enough into that, and I don't think most people who are truly completely frustrated with Myst and Riven would have made it to Myst 3 anyways. So now we go to Amaterra, or Amateria. No real reason. You can do these in any order you want. So let's just pick this and move on. And if that island was a energy electronics island, this is going to be, I think, more of a, well, it definitely looks like it's more focused on a Japanese style of island. We've got a lot of these pagoda looking things, and we're in a stormy world. So apparently there were some irregularities. I don't know what this is, so let's not hit it yet. In the final world that they were supposed to fix. Perhaps the irregularities were actually designed so that Atris's sons would have something to do. Okay, so we are gonna have to find a code that closes this, so we can go over here and find a code to close that, so we can go over there and find a code that closes that, so we can get up there. So again, unlike Myst, we are shown right where we start what our goal is. We need to find 3 codes, and then we're gonna have some kind of roller coaster experience, which I think you kind of get that at each of these levels. It's kind of surprising how much of this I still remember from the first time I played it. And I only played this game once, whereas the Myst and Riven I've played 2 to 4 times. Of course, this game hasn't been available on Steam until very recently. And once we get to Myst 4 and Uru and those other games, I'm really down to games that I barely played once. Myst 5 in particular is going to be a pain to play. So if we want to go back, we can to Janan, but we won't. There's nothing here in this world that we can't solve. Like, if this was a more modern game, you would kind of think about doing something like that. Going for more of a Metroidvania mentality. You have to find a key that's in a completely different world. Honestly, if you were going to make a Myst reboot or a continuation of the series, you might as well make the game about as hard as possible, like The Witness did, where people were on Twitch and online and on chat rooms talking to each other and working together. Like, even if you try to make something secret, it's not going to last very long. This is a staircase. I'm having trouble seeing that that was a staircase. And you can see these hexagon steps are clearly unnatural patterns, or at least for an average human's understanding of nature. Although there are crystals that grow in hexagonal shapes in caves and such in the real world. It's just they're not that well known. We have glowing, this is interesting. We have glowing rocks instead of lights. So it's not like electricity, it's glowing rocks here, glowing rocks there. So I don't think we're going to run into anything that would fall into the mechanical thought. The good news is, unless I've completely forgotten, I don't think there's really a music age in this, in Myst 3. So we're not going to have any sections where we have to follow music patterns. Late game in Myst 1, that you really are supposed to like reach the end of a minecart by following audio cues, and if you don't catch on to what the audio cues mean, you are left scratching your head without any clue. And I think that's pretty much exactly what position I was in. Alright, we've got a controller here that I can't zoom into. Let's see. I don't think we're quite ready for this because let's see. That doesn't do anything. That doesn't do anything. That doesn't do anything. Start with that. So over here we see a red ball with a metal strapping around it. Looks like it's going to roll around. And we're throwing a white ball upwards. So we've got to figure out the number of white balls that it will create and just magically drop. And so, okay. Let's And we saw these bouncing examples in the Book Thief's room in the main game, in the main Tusk world. But I thought it was like 3 white balls to 1 red ball. It seems like this is a pretty simple puzzle, though, because it seems like you only have 3 options. So if this doesn't work, then there's something we've missed. Yeah, so clearly there's something we missed. So we've got to decide and figure out how this is going to balance, which means we're going to have to go further. And see, I don't know if this pond here is designed to represent anything. I doubt the island we're on is this big, but it might be. And again, all of these puzzles are going to connect to each other, so we may just have to bypass quite a lot of them to start with. And so we have a wall, and behind this wall we have something that is breaking all the pieces. Okay. So let's say we take one of these, one of these, one of these, and one of these. See, and this is the weirdness about this, is unless we have something here that was a note. We have one blank page, another blank page, and that's kind of it. Those are for the 2 remaining symbols. But yeah, there's just this picture. Gear needs to be, I think, in the middle, and then none of those but these to make a full ball. And it's saying 3. So those are our hints. I don't know if those hints are helpful enough. Let's see. Can we walk over this? Just put that back. So 1 crystal. These kind of have 2 of everything. So we have, if we put this here, this is what the ball would be originally, and that would leave 2 remaining parts, which might be these, and none of the crystals. Yeah. And it doesn't look like there's anything else to do. So it locks you out of here. And I know there's another path. But let's see if we can get this first. So grab this. See, this is clearly designed to be a pain in the butt. Like, because what it's doing is raising you up an elevator, making you walk quite a far distance just to prove that you've really thought it through. So here's the counterbalance. This is going to put a crystal ball somewhere. So that wasn't too bad. That tells me that the counterbalance is heavy. Too heavy. See, I think what we wanted to do is roll backwards. So we're gonna have to lighten the load, which, without taking screenshots and pictures, this really just leaves you to either going back to the main island to investigate further or playing with this. Let's see. If we did this and just had that, who's to say it actually has to be a full ball, other than perhaps this, which shows a full ball. Says no pieces like that. So we'll put this here and put that there. Almost certainly this isn't right, but we'll see. Did that change the weight at all? Unfortunately, I doubt we're gonna get this done in this recording, but we got one island done, or the first island and one of the second act islands. It seems like it's dropping the ball, and then it comes all the way around. And see, we just need to balance it enough so it continues down its path all the way that way. Okay, well, it's been another 30 minutes, and we're just gonna have to work on that. We're at 9 saves, so that's 4.5 hours of gameplay. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.